Hello, awesome people of the internet. I'm stealing Quintus line. All right, hello, Vadim. So, AK Act Nation is going to join me for a while, and my friend's going to call, and we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs later. But we're going to talk about WNBA draft and Caitlin Clark and WNBA first. But later, we're going to do a little bit of talk about the WNBA. In fact, I got to pull up the ESPN playoff situation. Because it is the playoffs, and this is supposed to be a basketball and football channel, not just Caitlin Clark. But that's what you guys want. So let me pull up this. All right. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Explanation point for Vadim. The WNBA draft, I will tell you my feelings. First of all, I want to talk about Caitlin Clark's interview, Stephanie White's interview about Caitlin Clark, and where she talks about her improving. She's too upright, and everyone's been talking about that, her stance. She doesn't bend her knees, which is why she doesn't slide her feet well, which is why she's not reacting quick enough on defense, and I'm glad that's a priority. And I'm also wondering whether or not Kathy Engelbert is not watching. She's not watching my show. All right, then I can say anything I want about her. And someone made a comment, didn't know if she had the dog in her not had the dog in her, that she didn't have the desire to play great defense. That she didn't have the passion. And I'm wondering, is it because she didn't have the energy because she's doing so much on offense with the 3-star recruits in college, and then she has to just save energy on defense? And can you click that on her? Because if you improve the technique, that's half the battle. Hi, Michael. The other half of the battle is to improve her energy level and effort on defense. And I don't consider her the best player in the league for that reason, and the turnovers also, but the turnovers are less of a problem. I think those are easily correctable with a better coach and better teammates, better game plan, and a little discipline from Caitlin. But those are the two things that really will improve quickly if she puts the effort into it. And I think that will make her the best player in the league by the end of the year. I think she's probably tied for third with Brianna Stewart right now, behind Nafisa Collier and Asia Wilson. Now, some Clarksies, which is what I call big Super Clark fans, think she's already the best player in the league. I do not think so. Most people do not think so. But she's certainly the best offensive player, and she's certainly better at making everyone else around her better. And she's certainly better at passing than anybody else. And so I think it's just a matter of time. And she just improves on that. Now, so Stephanie White talked about that, improving her repertoire on offense, which is not a new thing. Everybody's been saying that. She basically has a layup to the right and drives to the right, and she has a 3-point shots and logo threes. And she used to do twos in her first and second year at college, and she got away for that for some reason. She turned into more threes and more logo threes and more drives to the basket. But she's working on her floater. Well, you can't just go by one. You just can't go by that. So I'm just giving Stewart the benefit of the doubt. Maybe her knee was bothering her. She's a great offensive and defensive player. I think her peak is past her, and now she's going to be going downhill slowly. So I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt. So if her knee's not 100% healthy, maybe she's in a slump on her 3-point shooting because of that. I don't know. I'm respecting the fact that she was the MVP the year before and that she plays really good offense and really good defense. So just relax on that. I agree. Most valuable player does not mean best player. I understand the difference. Most valuable player is a very abstract concept, which people forget sometimes. And because you're basically trying to say which player added more wins to their particular team compared to everybody else. And that's just a guess. Best player is less abstract. It's still abstract because there's no way to prove it definitively unless the stats are way out of control in terms of not close. but I think it's less abstract and it's easier to say who the best player is than it is to say who the most valuable player is. The problem is, in the most valuable player is that the standards have changed through the years, not for the better. They put too much emphasis on who is playing on the team with the best record. In the WNBA, they did it 17 years in a row, where the person was on a team with the best record or the tied for the second best record or the second best record. And so I think they get lazy and they don't use their imagination and visualization in terms of trying to say, okay, who really added the most victories to it, their particular team? And they go, oh, well, they had the most wins. I guess they must have done it. Well, that's lazy. So anyways, I tagged you as a fake in another comment section on a YouTube video. I did. What did I say? Are you talking to me? Was that me or directed at someone else in the audience there? Oh, AK Nation's coming on in a little while. He's doing something with the kid. But so anyways, my thought on defense is she will not be the best player in the league unless she improves on her defense. She doesn't have to be a great defender. I think she has to be a good defender. And I think she wants to be. I'm not sure she's ever going to be the intensity of Nafisa Collier or Lexi Hall, but if she can amp up her intensity on defense and improve the technique, which I think will happen because Stephanie White will just keep on her until she does, I think that'll happen. So she will not remain an average. I think she's an average defender, a below average on-ball defender. Overall, in other areas, she's above average. I think she's an average defender. And I think she'll be a good defender by the end of the year. And sometimes she loses her concentration with her man, and sometimes she's not on her person. I guess I should say person or woman and she allows her to get off a 3-point shot, which frustrates myself and Rob. But I think that will change this year with Stephanie White as the coach. I'm really looking forward to this season. I think the team looks awesome. I really think they have, if their older players don't get injured, I think they're good to go. I mean, anybody can get injured, I guess, but they're more likely older players. My concern is what happens if Caitlin Clark or Colson gets injured? They drafted another guard that does the same thing as Lexi Hall does, can shoot some threes, excellent on-ball defender, Bree Hall. I don't even know if she's going to make the team. It looks like Tinson. Is that her name? Do I got that right? Tinson? Everyone thinks she's going to make the team over the player from Europe, whatever Janelle was, whatever her name is. I don't know. They only have one spot, and then they have a second spot that they can add about 15 games into the season. So they really kind of have two spots. The person can wait 15 games because they'll have an extra $46,000 left over after they pay someone the minimum. So, which is what they're going to have to pay them so they can save money. So I think it's okay. It's okay to start the season with 11 players. But it's nice to have 12 as the season progresses. With injuries pile up, and then you get into the playoffs, you want to have 12 just in case. So, call Kennedy. Yeah. Well, Kennedy's not a point guard, though, but she certainly is a good player. All right. So, what's up, Act Nation? What's going on? Your mic's not on. What's going on? I can't hear you. We can't hear you. I don't know why we can't hear him. I got to call him up. He doesn't know we can't hear him, I don't think.
Yeah,
we can't hear you.
All right, bro.
All right. Anyways, I don't know if no. Anyways, happy Crucifixion Day. Oh yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's the day before Good Friday, I guess, right? Is that the day that they put him up on the cross? I was raised a Catholic, but I'm not religious. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the picks. I just kind of want to get Ack Nation to get on the air with this, but he's having trouble with his mic. I don't know what's going on. I looked at my thing, and it doesn't say his mic's off. Let me put him back like that. All right, I just want to see if that. Oh. No, this says his mic's on here. So sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, what's that?
My mic is on.
It's off? Oh, yeah, I know. And here it says it's okay. I'll try muting it and unmuting it, okay? So just give me a second. Okay, now I muted it. Now I unmuted it. Maybe that turned it on. Try talking again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. Speak again. Yeah, no, it's coming through the phone. I don't know what's going on because you're on.
Let me go out and come back in. I'll go out and come back in.
Okay, all right. If you need me to send you another invite, let me know. You can hear him. That was the phone you could hear. Yeah, because he called we were talking on the phone. He's going to go in and re-enter again. All right, yeah. So I'm going to talk about the WNBA draft. I just give him a minute to check back in again. Oh, there he is again. All right. I don't know. My mic's okay, right? You guys can hear me? I don't know what's going on. Let me see with this is normal. Oh, well. I could have him call in, I guess, and we can put him on speaker. Let me see. I don't know. Put this on volume all the way up. Yeah, the volume's all the way up. Okay. Oh, well. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't know. I could put you on speaker and try to talk to you. See can you guys hear?
Right.
Can you guys hear him now? I don't know what to say. I turned your mic on and off, so I did that. I put you on and off down below to see that. But I'm not sure. Oops, he's gone. I didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened, but I just clicked off of it. But yeah, all right. Go ahead, man.
All right, so let's talk about the draft. So the first thing I want to talk about is why did they take Bree Hall instead of Serena Sundell? Because Bree Hall seems to do the same thing that Lexi Hall does, and Sophie. You know, they plays good defense, can hit the three better than Sundell, but they didn't need any more players like that. They already had enough players like that. I thought they should. What if their backup point guard is 35 years old? Caitlin Clark. You know, she's never gotten seriously injured, but that could happen. So if she gets injured, all you got is one 35-year-old point guard. If the backup point guard gets injured, they have no backup point guard. Why not have another point guard? And she's 6'1".
If Caitlin Clark gets hurt, you just pick somebody up in the waiver. Like they're gonna pick somebody up if Caitlin Clark gets hurt. They're not counting on that. Like
I know.
They're trying to build a team around Caitlin, not worry about if Caitlin gets hurt.
Or what if? Yeah, but what if Colson gets injured? She's 35. You know.
Yeah, they're thinking about building a team around Caitlin. I think
I guess
Bree Hall's a good player as far as college. a good system fit. But yeah,
I don't think
it's
she.
gonna be tough for her to make the WNBA, man. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I don't think she's going to. I think they're doing people's favor, like Lucy Olsen and Serena Sunday. I think they're doing them a favor by not drafting them because they're not going to get any minutes, and they can't. You can't develop. You don't get any minutes. That was a thing with Grace Berger. They did her a favor by releasing her because she wasn't getting any minutes once they decided.
Well, not really, because here's the thing: it's only 100 and something spots, right? You just trying to make a roster. A lot of those people in the league,
yeah,
you'd rather be in the league than not be in the league.
You know, I understand that, but Grace Berger already made it on another team. She's already signed to a contract.
Oh, she got on another team?
Yeah, and so did who's that one, the defensive specialist that everybody liked that got, I forgot her name all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, the little biracial girl,
yeah. They cut early in the year instead of Saxton. They waived her instead of Saxton for no reason whatsoever other than the fact that Lynn Dunn's an airhead. So so is Christy Sides. Can I call a woman an airhead nowadays? I don't know if I'm yeah. She's in a training camp contract, but at least she's got a contract. Grace Berger's in a training. Serena Sundell, she's not a great 3-point shooter, Serena Sundell, but she's 6'1" point guard who led the country in assists. She can't be that bad, you know. So I don't know what to say. I understand the concept. I'm just, what if that someone gets injured? That's all I'm saying. It'd be nice to have it back. That's what good about Grace Berger. She could play the 1 or the 2. So that's what I liked about keeping her. But once they decided they wanted a more experienced point guard, I think she would have been experienced by the end of the year because she would have been the second point guard, and there wouldn't have been didn't have another point guard like last year. They had a second point guard. She would have got playing time. Yeah, Celeste Taylor, that's her name. Like Celeste Taylor, I think she's on a camp contract too, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know what to say, but we'll see what happens. I don't think the Fever are ever going to have to build with draft picks because the free agents are always going to want to play with Caitlin Clark. So, yeah, they're free agents, but they're not always going to be 37 and 35-year-olds. Sometimes they're going to be in their prime. So they don't even need to build up to the, it's nice to do that, but they're going to have like the 15th pick if they start winning championships. There's going to be 16 teams in the league in 2028. So when you're getting the 15th and 16th pick, unless the amount of talent in the world, for women increases dramatically, that's not much of a pick, the 15th or 16th pick.
No, it's not.
Right? So I don't think they're ever going to build to the draft, that the Fever, because I think they're always going to do well as long as Caitlin Clark is healthy, and they're always going to get a bad draft pick, and they're always going to get good free agents. As long as they can stay underneath the salary cap. I guess that's the key, right? The key is the salary cap.
I mean, yeah, they'll be all right, though.
Oh, no, they'll be good. They'll be good. That's what I'm saying. In a good way, they'll be good.
The best teams usually win the championship in this league.
The what teams?
The best team usually wins the championship.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing I don't like is the best of 3 opening round because you can get upset that easily that way. Mm-hmm. But you do have they're doing it 1-1-1 this year. I think they did change it to 1-1-1 instead of 2-0-2-0-1. Yeah, that's stupid. But no, they that should be best of 5. They should have just had all 3 best of 5. I think we talked about this already though. Mm-hmm. Best of 3, best of 5. That makes no sense. You shouldn't get eliminated in a best of 3 series and then have a best of 7 in the finals. You're trying to determine what team is best. Why do you have a best of 3 series? That's stupid. But they're not very smart in this league, as we found out. So, all right. So I thought Seattle got lucky by not getting the first pick, as long as Dominique is as good as we think she's going to be. Because Seattle couldn't get it wrong. There was no one third that was really any good. So no one's going to criticize their pick. But if Paige gets injured like in the first year or is not as good as people think she's going to be, they're going to look bad if Dominique is a great player.
I don't think Paige, even if she's, how good do you think Paige is going to be? What do you think?
I think she's going to be a great player if she doesn't get injured. I do. I think she's a smart player, and I think she got over that hump of not being assertive enough when the NCAA tournament started and near the end of the year too in some of the games. And I think she's starting to come back to her old self. And I think getting away from Gino and just trying to prove to everybody that she can do it. I think she's going to be mentally ready for the jump. And I think it might take her a little longer than Caitlin, but I think she's going to be a great player.
See if you can bring me up now.
You want to try it again? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
I think so. Let me go ahead. Talk again. No. Can't hear you. I don't know what to say.
Oh yeah, I see it.
You see it?
It's my test. No, I test. I'm on the audio test. And it's not. Yeah, it's not working. Yeah. Oh, try me now. Try me now.
Okay. Oh, I think I start to hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
It's.
I switch my microphone. If that ever happens to the other person, switch their microphone.
Something's wrong with your mic?
No, I had to switch. I had to go into the settings to switch my microphone on the audio. Because my mic, I had the wrong mic hooked up.
Your mic was somehow not hooked up. Yeah, mine says your mic thing is in. That's all I can do. I don't know what else to do from here. I'm not. Yeah. So, I do think Paige will be a good player. I don't think it's a sure thing like Caitlin Clark in terms of being a great player. But if you look back her freshman year, she was more assertive. She got more assists her freshman year. When I look back at their freshman year, I go, I couldn't tell who was better, Caitlin Clark or Paige. Paige got all the votes for Player of the Year. Caitlin Clark got one, and at least in the AP one. The other ones they don't announce the votes, but she was real. She had like 5.7 assists. But now she's only got like 4.5. So she needs to really up her game in passing because she's already a good defender and a good scorer, in my opinion, and just being more assertive. She needs to up her game. She wants to be a great player. What's that? I do think she is. I think she's going to be an excellent player. I can see her making first team All-Pro when she's in her prime. She may not win an MVP, but I can see her being first team All-Pro when she's in her prime. You don't become Player of the Year as a freshman as a fluke. You know what I mean? She's got the talent. She has talent.
I see her, honestly, man. I see her below that, man. I don't see her as a first team All WNBA player.
No, in her prime. I don't mean right away. When I'm talking about between ages 26 and 30, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a steal. I don't see that as a steal for some reason.
All right, we'll see. I'm not saying it's a sure thing. I'm really thinking. I do think if she doesn't get injured, I can see the problem though. She's frail. I don't know if Caitlin wasn't strong enough. What's Paige?
I think Paige. I think Paige. It's going to be different. It's going to be weird because everybody's going to be like rooting for Paige and wanting to take, and that's going to kind of like change the dynamic where like she's not going to like have that fire like where she, you know what I'm saying? She's not going to have to go through. Her journey is not going to be as exciting or. She's not going to touch the fans and touch the people the way because she's not going to have like. Now, if she gets injured and comes back, stuff like that, maybe she battles injuries, but she's not going to have any like hurdles to overcome. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But a lot of Caitlin,
right.
Storyline is about having to overcome things like Iowa, having to overcome not having the good players,
right?
Having a little school. Paige, her storyline, it's like it's gonna be different. It's gonna be more like, hey, Paige is great. We love Paige. She got great players in college.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think, like I said, I don't think she'll be as good as Caitlin Clark. I don't think it's a sure thing she'll be a great player, but I don't think she'll carry a team like Caitlin Clark. That means that's why I don't think she'll win an MVP or anything like that. But I can see her making first team All Pro when she's in her peak. I can see Angel Reese making first team All Pro when she's in her peak. If she improves her offense. She's already improving her defense and her rebounding. It's already there. So, but I don't see him winning MVP. Either one of them winning MVPs. So, so we'll see. I can see Dominique Malunga winning MVPs. I can see that. So her upside is I'm not sure if she can be tough mentally and physically, which is going to be a challenge because she's 19 and these women are grown ass women. They say she's going to have a little trouble the first year or two, but she looks so athletic and got great physique, with that size and wingspan and jumping ability. And she's got great form on her shot. She seems to want to work hard. Oh man, I don't know. I would have picked Paige just because of, your fans would be upset if you didn't. But I think they had a really tough choice between Dominique and Paige. And I'm not sure they made the right decision. But it was a tough one. Seattle had an easy choice. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bobby Yu is like one of her biggest fans. So let's see what he has to say. We'll put that up on the screen. Act Nation. He's one of Paige's biggest fans.
Yeah, I mean, Paige she's also a step slow too. For some reason, Paige those moves that worked in college, that little drive and pull up, that she uses, and then she, when she gets the ball, like they run a lot of stuff for her in UConn too, right? They run a lot of things for her that make her look really good. I wonder if the Dallas coaches want to run that same stuff because they rarely just check with the Page in the corner and say, "Yo, it's a lot of back screens going on, and things going to free Page up."
Right.
The focal point of the offense, and now you got Enrique, who's literally a black hole. You know what I mean?
I think Paige will make Enrique a better player, and Enrique will make Paige a better player. And the reason is I think their shortcomings and strengths will wear off on each other if they're smart about it. Paige isn't assertive enough. She won't take a shot that's not, a high percentage shot. She won't make any risky passes. Enrique takes shots she shouldn't take. And when she has another player in the team that can also has a good game, because Paige can score from practically anywhere, not logo threes. So I think Enrique maybe will take some smarter shots and fewer shots because she's actually a pretty good passer too. She has a lot of rebounds and assists. She's not a one-dimensional player, Enrique. I think they'll make each other better.
Yeah, she's a baller. Yeah. We'll see, man. It's going to be very interesting, man, because the Paige is also going to have to deal with like a lot of disappointment too, like because remember with Juju this year, as the ratings never really rolled in, you can start to wear on Juju. You know what I mean?
Right.
When the crowds weren't showing up and the ratings weren't rolling in,
right.
She was pushing, and they was having her out there trying to, make her, have her get her numbers so that she could, have good box scores, and it was all a lot on her.
Right. The thing is, Paige did play better at the end of the year, and then the tournament. But the last two games, she was the third best player. So, yeah, I know he's muffled. His mic's not working.
Mic's not working.
No, you don't sound good at all.
Hold on, let me see. Let me put my other ear.
I just thought that was the best you could do because before we couldn't hear you at all.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
It's better? Okay.
Yeah, you were all muffled. I just thought you couldn't do anything about it because you were having problems with your mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thanks. So I don't know. She didn't have a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. It wasn't that high. She only had 4.5 assists. But I'd have to look it up. Let me look up. Anyways, can you guys predict how much each player will average on the Fever this year? I wish I had a crystal ball. I already predicted Caitlin Clark's. I don't know if I should can do anybody else's. That's too hard. I did Caitlin Clark. I said 22, 10.5, and like maybe 5.5 or 6 rebounds, maybe like 1.5 steals, somewhere between 0.5 and 1 block, and probably, hopefully, 4 turnovers. And that would give her over a 2.5 assist to turnover ratio. Her shooting percentage, like 4.55 and 38% from threes. Efficiency shooting, maybe 55%. I think that's what I said, something like that. So that's pretty specific. And I think they're going to win at least 33 games. And after the preseason, I'll tell you whether it's going to be 33 or 35 games. That's if they remain healthy, because they do have a 37-year-old starting and a 35-year-old backup point guard. We'll see. You can predict the numbers if you want. This guy's asking for Caitlin.
Yeah, I like I said, Ben, like
it's hard to know. It's hard to know because you got a brand new team.
Yeah, 19. And,
I got it right last year, but it's part luck. I had 20, 10, and 6. And that, I didn't really know that much about the team. I just kind of predicted, guess what she could do based upon what she did in college.
Pretty much the same.
You're muffled again.
I'm muffled again?
Yeah, you went back to the muffling.
Hey, okay. Wow. Let me see something. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. How about now?
You're still low, but not as muffled.
I'm low, but I'm not muffled.
Not as muffled as, but you're still low.
Wow. Hello. What about now?
ESPN, the premier sports media, had no interviews with the projected national draft number 2 draft pick. Yeah. What's Rachel Demita? She had an interview. She went over to France and interviewed her. She was there for vacation too, I think.
You know why they not interviewing their second pick though, right?
Paige and Enrique have bad blood. Add mustard to that.
Can you hear me?
What's that?
Can you hear me?
A little bit. Yeah, you're still pretty low. I don't know what's wrong with your mic today.
Odd, man. This is so odd. Let me see if I can turn this one on.
Looking at the comments here. Enrique Blog, she will shoot 20 times a game and not pass.
How about now?
I don't know. I think Enrique will adjust her games because of Paige. I think Paige unselfish play will rub off on her some.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's still low, but I can hear you, but it's low. Before Malunga was on most people's radars, Marcus said that he would take Malunga in the first pick of the draft. No, I'm saying if I was forced to at Dallas, I probably would have to take Paige because of her reputation and the amount of tickets that they're going to sell. But I would feel really hesitant picking Paige. And with Seattle, they had an easy choice. There was no hesitation. I'm not sure they make the right choice. I'm not even sure I'd be right to take Paige. I'm just saying I probably would cave in and take Paige also. But the more I watch Malunga, the more I think that's the wrong choice. I agree with your video today. I've been saying every time I watch more video of her, I'm just wondering, though, she's 19, and it's going to be a while for her to get used to the physicality of the WNBA, unless the WNBA changes how they call their games and call it less physical, which is what I've been recommending, what everyone else has been recommending, and less prison ball. That will open up things for her, I think, because I don't think she's an Alyssa Thomas type player who thrives on that prison ball, and it gives her an advantage because she's a dirty player, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Anyways.
Call me, because if it's not working this way, I don't need.
What's that?
Call me, because if I'm not coming in clear, I'm not clear.
I can't hear you.
Wow.
I can't hear you. Try putting your thing in the thing of the phone. I can't hear you.
Call me.
I don't know what's wrong with your system today. I can hear you better when you call in the phone.
Yeah, you hear me now.
Yeah, really low though.
What about that?
It's still low. Normally you have no problems.
Right.
It's still low. I never heard anybody talk about assist to turnover ratio until they tried to diminish.
Yeah,
I don't agree with you, Charlie, on that. That is not a meaningless stat. And when a point guard has a lot of turnovers and their assist turnover ratio is not good, people pointed out. I've been following the NBA for 60 years. I do think like 1.5 is not good enough. I mean, John Stockton was like 3.7 or 3.75. Most of the great point guards are between 2 and 3. So if she's getting 12 assists and she gets 4 turnovers, that's cool. But, with the amount of turnovers, she's only 1.5. In college, she was 1.8. I do think, obviously, the turnovers are overrated because some of the turnovers she had wasn't hers. They're bad calls by the refs with turnovers. Also, they assign a turnover to her when they drop the ball, which they're not supposed to do. So all sorts of things their turnovers would have been lower. But some of them, she was just forcing the ball. And she needs to do not quite so much forcing with the ball. So we'll see. But that'll all be solved because they'll have a much better offense, more flow, better players, better coach. Those type of turnovers that she made last year will not occur as much this year just because of the better teammates and the better offense and newer coach and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's better. That's better. It's not as Oh, here's a good question. Would you take Dominique Malunga over Sarah Strong? Wow. I need to see Sarah Strong more, but again, they're the same age, so wow. I would take Dominique Malunga. I think she has unbelievable upside. She's very tantalizing. Like was it Robin Lundberg used that word on our show? So I think Sarah Strong is going to be a great player, though. She seems very smart and mature, but she's not going to be in the WNBA. She will be a little undersized if she still plays underneath the basket. She's not that tall. Did you see the picture of Anissa Morrow? And it was next to Sanaya Rivers and Marina Mabrey, and she looks like she's 5'10" in the photo. if Sanaya Rivers is 6'1". So did you guys see that? I thought she was undersized. I didn't really notice that she looked shorter than 6'1", and I just thought she looked short for a forward because she was 6'1". But then people saying that they noticed she looked like the same height as Raven Johnson. I didn't notice that during the LSU games. So maybe she is, but if she's 5'10", she's a dog in terms of getting those rebounds. Even though I don't like that term. And I don't I just don't think Kiki's going to be that excellent player. Citron, I have confidence is going to be a very solid player. Whether she be a big star or not, I don't know. But she's a sure thing to be a solid player, in my opinion. Citron. She has a really good all-around game, and she's intent on playing good defense. That'll keep her in the league. So that's my opinion. Let me see. Let me look at your comments. If you got any questions, put them up there. If you put some money with the question, it's more likely to get answered. Anyone make donations to the channel, it's super chats and super things. Rob was supposed to be here tonight, and his boss got COVID. He was supposed to be off today. He got called into work. And Rich was supposed to be here, and he had something show up. He said he'll be here next week. All right. Let's see. Did the Fever get the title? This will be Bonner's last year? Oh. Well, she's 37. I don't know. I guess only she knows how her body's going to feel. She's skinny, so she could, play a little longer than most people, I think. And she seems healthy right now, so we'll see. The skinnier bodies takes less of a toll on their body, so we'll see. She may stay another year just thinking, well, geez, I get another championship. If the Fever's going to be good every year, I think. As long as Caitlin Clark is healthy and they have the same coach and management staff that they have in place, which I hope they have for a long time, because I don't agree with 100% of what I think they've done, but they have more information than we do. They're certainly not dumb like the last coach and general manager. They certainly know basketball. They seem to know the league. I have a confidence. Yeah, I got you on speaker.
Bring me up.
Huh? I'll bring you up.
Bring me
Oh.
up.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't see you down there. Sorry. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Let me turn it off. Go ahead, talk again. No. What's up? How do you make videos, man?
I have no idea what's going on with this thing. I have no idea.
I don't know what to say. We're having technical difficulties today, but it's not on me. They make fun of me for my technical difficulties.
This is a strange experience. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
All right.
Anyway, as far as like Malanga like being like
I see her moving into coaching the next 5 years, and she's sounding more like a coach than a player. Is he talking? You still talking about Bonner? Yeah, next 5. Oh yeah, she might go straight into coaching when she retires, if that's what you're talking about. But I don't know if that's her last year. She still seems. She doesn't seem old to me. She doesn't seem like she's 30, 37 to me. Malanga can dunk. Yeah, she can dunk easily. So, anyways, my feeling is they're gonna keep. Is that her name? What was her draft? Tinson? Is that her name? I never even noticed her when I think the games I saw at Florida State. I didn't notice that she was. Let me just see what I got here. I can make sure I got the names right. The Fevers. Go to the Fevers. I have a feeling that Michaela Simpson will make the team. And then everybody else is going to be fighting for that other spot. That's going to be really a 2/3 of a year spot because they only have $46,000 left over after they pay her the minimum. So that's my guess. The other player from Europe that I don't know, I saw a video on it from Mick. Of course, he changed his mind when he did the video. This is so he's so crazy. He did a video on Jillian Aline, and he said, "Listen, no one else is going to make the team but her. She's the only one that's going to make that one full spot. No one else is going to have a chance. None of the draft picks, not Jaylen Brown. No. Then after they drafted Timpson, who he wasn't even calling for. That was like his 3rd or 4th choice. He goes, "Oh, she's going to make the team," and Jillian Aline is not. He completely changed what he said a couple weeks ago, which is not surprising because he does that all the time. So I don't know anything about that player over in Europe, but let's see. What's up?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Wayne, what did you do? It's working.
Yeah, technical.
What'd you do wrong, man?
I was on the wrong browser, man. I had to go on Chrome.
All right. Let us know when you got to go. If you got to go with your kids, let me know. I'm just going to probably go till 7 tonight. And I have a friend that's I told him to call in to talk about the WNBA, the NBA playoffs. So I wanted to get the WNBA out of the way. So
you know what? I don't even know anything about the NBA player. That's so crazy because like I used to be such a big NBA fan. I have no clue what's going on.
No, I know. That's why my friend is a big NBA fan. I told him to call in today because when I found out I got canceled out by Rich and Rob because Rob got called into work. He said, "Oh, I'm going to be myself if you don't show up." So, you want to be on next Monday?
I hate planning.
All right, I'll send you a link. I'll save you a spot either way. I'm only going to have 2 people on, but Robin was on last week with me. It was pretty good. I'll invite.
Yeah, I wanted to get up. I wanted to call in with Robin, man. Because he like knows those. He like goes to the games and knows those people, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I thought we had a good rapport. He was good last time too. He doesn't have super strong opinions, but they're very.
I mean, he goes to the game and he knows those people. If you go to the games and you might run into these people, you don't want to be online, saying what you really think about them, and then you got to see these people face to face.
I mean, you can't. they were talking about the assisted turnover rate. You can't ignore the fact that she had the most turnovers of all time. You can't ignore that fact. So I think
you can. Yeah, you can. Because here's the thing. It's called usage rate. It's called usage rate.
Again, her assist turnover ratio is only 1.5. So
no. But it's called usage rate. It's called usage rate. Usage rate, and it's called being a rookie. Her usage rate, the amount of time she has the ball, the amount of time she has the ball for her team possessions, they didn't even show that. I never saw a stat on that. I remember when James Harden was in his prime, and this guy Westbrook and all these Curry and all these guys were in their prime. LeBron, they would always talk about usage rate. They would always show the stat of Luka, what the usage rate is. We never got to see the stat of what Caitlin Clark's
I agree it's
usage rate
deceptive because she has high usage rate. I'm not saying that is indicative of her ability level. I'm merely saying you can't ignore it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all those guys got a lot of turnovers, though. That's what I'm saying. Like all those guys, and nobody ever talks about it. Nobody mentions their turnovers, though.
But
because they know they're going to turn the ball over. You know, LeBron is going to turn the ball over.
Yeah, but
you know that.
They all have better than a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And LeBron has a high usage rate too. He's like a point guard out there.
They weren't rookies though, but they weren't rookies.
Well, I get that, but I mean, she shattered the record. I think you can't ignore it. I'm not saying it's a strong argument is what people say. I'm merely saying you can't ignore that fact. It's going to go down this year anyways. It's going to go down. She's going to be more.
The usage rate is important because some people who play the same position as you could have way lower usage rate than you. It's some like LeBron being a small forward. He's going to have a higher usage rate than the Washington Wizards small forward.
Okay, right, but
you know what I'm saying?
If you have a higher usage rate as a point guard, you should have more assists because you're passing more to people and more likely to throw an assist.
Well, they only play 40 minute games.
Should still be better.
Yeah,
in other words, you should have more assists if you have more usage. So that's still going to be considered in the assist to turnover ratio. I'm not saying it's the only factor and that's the only thing you look at. I think you look at everything and you have to analyze. You have to analyze everything. Go ahead. Sorry.
But if you're comparing her to you remember the WNBA game is 40 minutes and the NBA game is 48 minutes. So it's like that's why you don't have a lot of triple doubles in the WNBA because you have basically eight less minutes. So it's you a triple double in the that's what they talk about double doubles a lot in the WNBA because it's going to be very hard to get a triple double when you're playing 8 less minutes.
Right. So it may be a moot point if she really brings it down and her assists go way up. In other words, if she goes 12-4 this year, people aren't going to be talking about the turnovers because she's got a 3-to-1 assist turnover ratio. The turnovers go down to 4 and stuff like that. But we'll see what happens this year. I think they'll go down, and I think her assists will go up. So by that alone, her nice ratio will come up. Magic, if you look up Magic's stats, I don't have it in front of him. I think when he's rookie year, he was around 2-to-1, though. I don't think he was ever at as low as 1.5. But I don't have the stats in front of me.
Magic is a freak, though, point guard. He's not.
I know, but someone mentioned him in the thing about him having a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's a freak.
He did, but he had a lot of assists too. But he was also playing with good players. So
yeah.
No, he had the advantage of playing with good players.
You know what though, Rob?
I get that.
You know, Mark. You know what I really want to see? I really want to just see them push the Paige shit all year. I want to see Paige have 10 and 3 and 2. And them act like she is the greatest thing in the world. And then
they're going to overrate her. You know they're going to overrate her. ESPN will, at least. ESPN will overrate her. Natalie Esquire will overrate her because Natalie Esquire will see her as a sister because she did the ESPY speech. Everyone that's anti-Caitlin Clark will overrate Paige. No, it's not Paige's fault. I like Paige. I think she seems like a nice person. So it's not Paige. Juju seems like a nice person, but it's not her fault that they overrated her. It's just an overhyped.
It's going to be interesting too, and then they're going to be and then here's the thing. Okay, Arike we already talked about the basketball aspect, right? But now we got to talk about like the off the court aspect, right? Like as far well the like okay, if Enrique's if we could look like say we watch the game, we could see Enrique's holding Paige back. How do they deal with that? Because Enrique's a sister and Paige is screwing a sister. AZ Fudge. Like, how do they deal with that? How do they deal with that?
I do not think Paige is straight. That's just my guess. But I don't care. I don't care what someone's sexuality is. I just don't think she's straight. I just don't get that vibe.
No, she's with AZ Fudge. She's in a relationship with AZ Fudge.
And I heard rumors. I don't know if it's true. I don't care. I don't care about.
No, I'm not saying you care, but what I'm saying is they care.
I know they do. Yeah, that's good.
You don't have to care.
I know. Candace Wiggins found out they cared. He got treated like crap just because she was an attractive straight woman who just didn't mind saying she was a straight woman. Didn't mind saying she was a single and like the
yeah. They care. So it's gonna be like weird because it's gonna be like you. What if Enrique come out right? Let's just say Enrique come out. She averaged 27 points a game. And Paige is averaging like 11 or 10, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Enrique is going to take fewer shots this year, and she's going to take smarter shots because Paige, the two of them are going to be able to rub off on each other. It's just my guess. I could be completely wrong. I think the efficiency of Enrique will go up, and I think maybe Paige's efficiency may go down a little bit because Enrique is going to rub off on her. She's going to feel freer being out of UConn. She's going to feel like she's got her energy back from the injuries. It's been 2 years now since the ACL. That's enough time to recover completely from that, at least physically. Mentally, maybe it's never. I don't know. But we'll see. I could be wrong. It's just my guess. I think Paige will be less efficient and Enrique will be more efficient. I think Paige will open up a little bit, which is good. I think it'll make her a better player if she does that. And that's what people have been saying, that Gino took it out of her. I don't know if Gino took it out of her. She took it out of herself because mentally she was still thinking about the injuries. Only she knows for sure. So we'll see. But I'm just wondering. I hope they're okay. If I guess they're not worried about point guards. I'm the only one worried about that point guard. But we'll see. They can get somebody. You're right, because if they do have 11 people and someone gets injured in the first 15 or 20 games, they could pick up a point guard who's a backup point guard. If they have
what's going to be different, though? This is the good thing about Paige, though, is that last year, all the talk was about one team. Now, at least, I think they will talk about, at least in the beginning of the season, they'll talk about two teams.
Yeah, they're going to talk about Dominique. They're going to follow her. And
no, they're going to talk. They're not going to talk about Seattle. They're not going to talk about Seattle.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah, if Dominique plays well.
They're still not going to talk about it. They're not going to talk about it. They're not going to talk about that girl.
I'll talk about her if she plays well.
Yeah, I'm to the mainstream media. That for as much as they as much as they moan about that, if that girl Dominique Malonga comes out and averages 20 and 10, they're going to talk about Angel Reese, and they're going to talk and Angel Reese. Think about it. If that girl averages 20 and 10, right, and Angel Reese averages 12 and 13 and 13, right?
Well, what's her shooting percentages? Because I think Dominique Malonga's going to have a better shooting percentage than Angel Reese.
They don't care about that. They're going to talk about the stars. They do what they accuse us of doing. Remember, everything they accuse us of doing, they do. Remember that. They do. They're going to talk about Asia Wilson. They're not going to. But what I'm saying is the team. I think they'll talk about the Dallas Wings as a team. Because remember, they talk about
well, they got to win. They have to win, but I think they will win. So,
yeah, but I mean, I heard the drama, the coach, what's going on over there, because they really like Paige, man. I think they're really, really, really going to push Paige this year, and they're going to try to kind of like they did with Juju. You're going to be like, all right, we get it, and some people are going to be like, hey, we don't want no more Paige news. I think it's going to be just like Juju, where it's like forced on you. the Dallas Wings and Paige Bueckers, they're going to force it on you. And don't let them have a sellout.
I agree.
Don't let them have a sellout. If they have a sellout without
forget it. They're going to say
fever,
she's a generational talent, and she's Caitlin Clark doubled.
If they have a game that like has like 900,000 viewers, and they're not playing the Fever. Oh,
wait. What if I know Dominique's from France and not the United States, but she's black, and what if they determine she's not straight and she's black? Isn't that a good combination for them to get behind?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm not saying
that. Voice.
That French. When people speak French, I hate that. The French sounds so terrible. But they
really, I like it's just her voice.
She can speak English. I'll give her that. She has fluent English, so that's good. But I think for some reason I think that they're just going to ignore her because she's not a star. They're into like creating. One thing they want to do is create a star to rival Caitlin. They know that it's not just going to take a good player. That's why they kind of like Paige, because they feel like Paige has star power. They're looking for a whole package to replace Caitlin. They know they can't replace Caitlin with just somebody who's good on the court.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I want to respond to this. Well, I want to respond to 2 comments. This one here, double team, triple team, the rookie. That's true. But later in the year, she wasn't double teamed and triple teamed as much. And her assist turnover ratio went up because her assists went up, but her turnovers remained the same. So, yes, that's all. I know it's all a factor, and it's all going to be better this year. So it's probably a mute point. But let me respond to this here because I'm a Packers fan. And I agree with this comment 100%. Aaron Rodgers was more concerned about trying to throw 4 touchdowns for an interception, or his goal was 5 touchdowns for every interception. He said in an interview once, and he didn't take enough chances. And they would have won more games if he'd taken more chances. He was too conservative and too worried about his quarterback rating and its stat sheet. And I think that's what Paige is too concerned about, her efficiency, and she needs to loosen up. But I think she will. That's what I'm saying. I think Arika is going to loosen her up. But I'll find out. Here's a question for you. You ready? Are you looking at your phone or something? Are you ready?
Nah, okay. Good.
What if Juju Watkins was 5'6" and Hannah Hidalgo was 6'2", and say Tanai Latson was 6'2"? Who do you think they would have pushed last year in college basketball?
Yeah, it's Hannah Hidalgo. But then once they would have found out she is religious like that, then they would have probably switched over to Tanai Latson. But the reason you gotta be they gotta see you as being a projected star. That's what I'm saying. Like they know that Caitlin, the one they trying to push to replace Caitlin, has to have the measurables. They have to have the off-court potential to sell products. They got to have the ability to, pack stadiums. They know that it's not just about scoring, because if that was the case, they would have just tied 9 Latson. You know what I'm saying? It's just they're constantly looking for that replacement. They're constantly looking for somebody to say, hey, look, we made this. Because they didn't make Caitlin,
right?
So they looking for something that they can be like, we made this one, and
you want to respond to this comment here, Eck? It's about you. I don't know. I didn't see that video, so I don't know if it's true or not. Did you say that?
I don't know about this guy's credibility. I remember seeing his video about that Sarah Strong can't be a star going to UConn and should go to a smaller school. At the time I said that. Yes, that was how I felt at that time. I thought she should have gone to a smaller school.
Why is that? Why is that smaller school?
Because she's Sarah Strong, and I feel like as far as building your personal brand, not building like winning championships and shit like that. I'm talking about building your personal legend.
It worked pretty well this year for her, though. You got to admit.
But did it? She
scored.
Hold on, time out, Mark. She scored 25 points and had 15 rebounds in the championship game and didn't win the MVP.
Well, I completely disagree with that. I thought she should have won. Actually it's not based upon the championship game. It's based upon the Final Four game and the championship game. It's called the Final Four MVP. But either way, I put the two stats together up on a chart, and I can pull them up for you if you need to. And yes, she should have been. People said, well, Izzy Fudd did really well in both the first halves each time, and they really set the tune for the games. But the stats were undeniable in terms of what. I agree.
What I'm basically saying is that
plan for herself. In essence, she did come out as a star by the end of the year.
What I'm saying is that basically, like, Sarah Strong is not gonna be like a legend. She's gonna be another great UConn player, and she's gonna come into the league as another great UConn player, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong, that's fine. But I felt like had she gone to UNC, which was her other school, she was looking at UNC, or she kind of like was out on South Carolina early, but it was down to UConn and UNC, and I felt like if she went to UNC, if Sarah Strong went to UNC, and let's just say they made a Final Four this year, that would have been more impactful than what she did at UConn.
Well, that's true. If they could get to if that good, but Angel Reese is going to shoot over 50% and average 20 and 12. That's a big jump. Look, I think she's going to improve on her layups because I think Lisa Leslie knows basketball and she's going to teach her. But to go from 40% to over 50% in 1 year,
nah,
that's a big. It's harder to go 10% than you think it is. That's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, that's
huge. A pretty big jump. It's possible she'd have to be a lot better. She doesn't even. If you watch her throw layups out, and Rob talks about this. She doesn't even aim. She just like throws it off the backboard. She didn't even like look for that little box. She doesn't look at angles. She like throws it up there. It's not just her technique; it's her aim. She's capable of doing that if she starts aiming and improves her technique. But we'll see. I mean, she's shooting really close up.
The league wants her to be good. The league is hoping, because if she can improve, that's so good for the league, because you need your stars to be stars on the court, because she's getting into that little area where she's always going to be a star, but if she's just a star off the court for like selling stuff and TikToks and stuff like that, and she's not, and it's not on the court, that's going to start to wear on people. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree. So we'll see what happens. Someone talked about Juju's. Okay, Juju. I'll usage rate. Well, what's a 38 usage rate? Clark had 38 use. She only averaged 24. Clark averaged 32. Well, Clark didn't average 32 points. That's not right. That's not her final average. She averaged 20. Like I think 28.
I think they talking about in college.
No, in college she didn't average 32. Her senior year she averaged 32. Oh, but that just the 1 year, not her whole career. The dog was 30% usage rate. Latson has 35. What Juju's problem is she doesn't look for her players enough. She's too busy she was chasing after Clark's record, and
that's over with.
That's probably the best thing for her. She'll probably not worry about the record anymore, and she'll develop a better game and stop trying to drive into the basket when there's three people there to get the foul call. She's very talented though, but she doesn't have as good a jump shot as her fans think she does. So
no, she doesn't.
You can just tell by the 3-point shot and her numbers that her shooting percentage is not there. So
yeah, she does. Juju is she was pushed and she was shoved down people's throats, and I feel bad for the girl, man. It was just a crazy. The way it ended was so sad too, man. Because the way it ended, it was going to end bad anyway. They weren't going to beat UConn. You can see that now. Like they weren't going to beat UConn.
UConn was playing too well. UConn was playing too well.
So they weren't going to make a Final Four.
I agree.
It was going to, and so that injury kind of saved her in a way, because you know what I mean, she didn't have to not make a Final Four again. because you're not gonna blame them. She got hurt, but yeah, it was a rough year for her, man. That couldn't have been fun. That couldn't have
Nobody
been
would
enjoyable.
know who Juju is without the ref's whistle. Now, I'm not going to disagree with this, even though it's Basil. I think she has the best whistle I've ever seen in women's basketball. I don't know if I can compare that with men, but maybe the best whistle I've ever seen. Like I saw her drive to the basket in that one game. She drove into three people and tripped on her own feet. They called the foul. The replay showed that she tripped on her own feet. The ref says, "Oh, look at that. She drew the foul." And then she dribbles around the same defender. And as far as we can tell, at that angle, the other defender didn't even touch her other than like a hand on her arm or something. And she tripped again, and they gave her another foul call. And she did this every game until she finally, in this third time she played UCLA in the second half, the refs finally said, "We're not giving you free calls anymore." And Lauren Betts blocked her twice in the fourth quarter, and the replay showed they were clean blocks too. But either way, I do agree that she gets the best whistle I've ever seen.
Wow.
And Caitlin Clark, not in college. In college, I thought Caitlin got a fair whistle. In the WNBA, she got the worst whistle I've ever seen in my life. James Harden got the best whistle in men's basketball up until like 5 years ago when they stopped giving him that call where he puts his shoulder into people and he brings his arm across the defender's arm. But they stopped giving him those calls. He's not going to blind.
He got away for that. He got away with that for far too long, though.
Far too, and everybody was complaining about it. It took him a long time to fix it. I have no idea why.
Yeah, because he was putting up those big numbers, and those big numbers was exciting, and they didn't want to stop it. But yeah.
Okay. Someone said Rebecca Lobo shot a worse percentage in field goal than Angel Reese, and Rebecca shot over 50% her second year. Well, I don't have her stats in front, but I'll take your word for it. I didn't say it's impossible. I said it's hard to go from 40 to 50 to over 50%. Let me look up the stats because I get all sorts of things that people say, and I look them up and they're wrong. It happens all the time when I see people making comments. They said that Diana Taurasi played with all freshmen her senior year. She played with 0 freshmen her senior year. I looked it up. There were two freshmen that started her junior year, but there were 5-star recruits, and one was the number 1 recruit in the country. And they turned out she played with 4 players that made it in WNBA. They tried to make it sound like she was playing with a bunch of scrubs.
Right. Well, that's a scrub team for UConn. If you only got 4 WNBA players, that's one of the worst UConn teams ever.
Yeah. No, it was. No, they didn't. They didn't have any first team and first or second team All-American that year. They didn't have first, second, or third team All-American that year. That's true. That was a weaker team than normal that won the championship that year. So you have to give Diana Taurasi credit her junior year, but not as much credit as people want to give her because they were still 5-star recruits. 4 of the starters were 5-star recruits. Well, they didn't have 5-star recruits back then, but according to ChatGPT, they were considered this similar. Rebecca Lobo.
Down to All-American.
So we'll see. Rebecca Lobo, I like, except for when she pretended she swallowed her whistle on the Kennedy Carter thing. I don't know if you know this. During the game, Ryan Rocco's just saying that should be a flagrant 1. They should review this. He said this for like 2 minutes. She remained completely quiet. The next day she said, "Oh, well, that was an obvious flagrant 1," but she said nothing during the game.
Well, you gotta remember.
Huh?
You gotta remember, she doesn't want to get in the middle of that racial shit because if she gets on the wrong side of that racial thing, they will destroy her. Her, Holly Rowe, all those white girls that talk sports, they gotta walk on like tippy toes around anything that might be racial.
Okay, so this is I'll pull up the stats are basically correct, even though it wasn't over 50%. She did go up by 10%. So I will pull that up there. Can you guys see that? I'll make it bigger. She went from 376 to 484. She went up a little over. She went up by almost 11%.
She was awful. Golly, she was awful
rookie
that
year.
first year.
And she played 28 games and then 30, and then she got injured, and then she wasn't the same player after that.
Hold on, she only played. Oh, I didn't know she only played 7
She got
years.
injured, and then I don't think she was the same player after the injury. And then I think she got injured again, and then retired, if I remember correctly.
Wow,
So yeah,
she got.
That was her
Wow.
best year. Her second year was her best year. It was 484 percentage, and she averaged. Let's see. Well, yeah, she did well. She got MVP considerations. Wait a minute, let me just see. She was MVP ninth, but she was second team. She was second team All WNBA her rookie year, but then never made it again. She never made anything after that. Oh no, she made All Star in '99. It says here. Yeah, she made All Star in '99. What All Star? Why?
Wow.
Why All Star?
Wow.
She only played one game. I don't know that make any sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make yes, that doesn't.
That was her
make
highest
any
shooting
sense.
percentage. Was her second year. She 469 was her next highest. She ended up career wise for 407. So anyway,
wow. Listen. That's crazy. I knew she had struggled with injuries. But damn, I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't realize it was how she struggled that bad. What was it? Her knee or her back?
Well, they said her knee. I don't know if her second injury was her knee again or something else. I'd have to look it up on Wikipedia.
She's
I don't
a
want
big
to
girl.
read it.
Rebecca's a big girl, so it's like I don't know. Her game, her game was not predicated on athleticism.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Wow.
Lobo got hyped because of one thing. She did not belong with Leslie Cooper and company. She got hyped because she came from Connecticut and she got Player of the Year and won a championship. That's why she got hyped. I remember.
Exactly.
I remember them hyping her. And I didn't follow women's basketball, but I just follow sports in general. But
yeah, I knew who she was.
Player of the Year. Anyone who does that gets hyped.
Exactly.
And so I think that was their UConn's first championship, right? That she brought to them.
Right.
Yeah, that's why
she
got
deserved
hyped.
it though. But she deserved it. Like I mean, she
wasn't won a championship with a team that never won a championship before. Yeah, you deserve to get hyped. I agree with you.
And listen, if Lisa Leslie would have got hurt, who knows how we would look at her if she would have got hurt. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Joseph said, so first of all, Jim Brown only played 9 years of football, not 11. And you're right. He never had a major injury. He had one minor injury 1 year. The only year he didn't lead the league in rushing. He led the league in rushing 8 out of 9 years. Jim Taylor led it the other year. But yeah, he had like one wrist injury 1 year and an ankle injury. And that was it. He had 8 out of 9 years that he was pretty much healthy. But he retired at age 29. He was just turning 30 when he retired. So he was making movies and the Browns got impatient. And he goes, I'll just retire. Obviously, that wasn't the only reason, but they were like giving him a hard time about coming back from a movie set for camp.
Yeah, what an asshole! What a jerk move that was. I mean, like,
and Jim Brown.
Yeah, from the Browns, just let him shoot the damn movie.
Pressuring him to get back because he was making a movie. Like he needed training camp. he was always in shape. He never showed up. He never showed up out of shape. From my understanding, there was never any problems with him being in shape. Like there was no accusation of him being lazy in that way.
Yeah, that's just that old school mentality, man. Sometimes the old school mentality, you can take it too far, man.
Well, he was probably just tired of 9 years of football as a running back is a lot, But back then they played fewer games, but still, he still had plenty of rushes. But Jim Brown was an amazing athlete.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
I think it's Syracuse. I forgot either he led the nation in scoring in lacrosse or led him to a championship or both his junior year or something like that. He was a great lacrosse player too.
He's considered the greatest lacrosse player ever.
No, people just said that, but he was a great lacrosse player for the time. I don't know if he's the greatest lacrosse player ever. I'm sure he was great.
That's what I heard.
You can look. Well, that's what you heard, but players are so much more talented now than back then. It's like, but he wasn't that dominant. But he was. I think he either led the nation in scoring or led him to a title or one. Yeah, I look up Wikipedia. Jim Brown, and if you go by strength, Jim Brown and Bo Jackson and LeBron James, those are 3 phenomenal athletes. If you go all around at sports and all around playing ability. But I like Michael Jordan, so that's me. I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I think he's my favorite athlete and best athlete. And Deion
Yeah,
Sanders, I didn't like his personality, Deion Sanders, but I thought he was a tremendous athlete, despite his wimpy tackling on football fields. He shut everybody down.
Everybody has I didn't even think Deion was a wimpy tackler. I never really saw that as far as when I look at the game. I thought he was just a regular corner.
Who's that? Deion?
Yeah. I thought he hit just as much as
they wouldn't even pass his side of the field most of the time. Are you kidding me? I saw one game where he ran in front of Jerry Rice twice and intercepted the ball in one game.
No, what I'm talking about is like as far as the tackling. I didn't.
Oh, okay, tackling.
I'm speaking about tackling. I didn't think he was a bad tackler. I didn't think he was a bad tackler. I never subscribed to that bad tackling because I never saw it. I mean, like he was like any other corner. He's gonna bring you down, get you on the ground.
Well, supposedly they have these stats, which I didn't even know existed before I heard the stat, where they talked about how effective the running game was on his side of the field. Like, well, he's a quarterback. What are we talking about? Anyways, I think he was a phenomenal player, but either way, that's myself. I don't his personality. You can give or take this personality. And Jim Brown, same thing. You can give and take his personality.
Yeah.
But I
never meet your heroes, man. Never meet your heroes, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Michael Jordan's like in person, but I actually like his personality more than Deion or more than Jim Brown. So
yeah, never meet your heroes. I agree with that. Never meet your heroes, man. It's always a letdown, man. It's always a letdown. I remember when I first met my father, man. I was 15 years old. We flew all the way to Nigeria.
You didn't meet until you were 15?
Yeah. So it's a long story, and I was very excited. We had shared letters and everything, and then I got over there, and it was like he didn't really talk to me. For like 2 weeks, he didn't say shit to me. And I was like, damn, it was such a letdown. But it's like, yeah, you never meet your heroes, man. You know what I mean?
All right, I did meet one of my childhood heroes though, and it wasn't a letdown. It was Dan Gable. He was a wrestler. He's a real wrestler. He was a legendary wrestler. He did a camp when I was 14. It's the last autograph I ever got. And he didn't leave me down, but he seemed like he was a nice guy. When I talked to him for a couple of minutes when I got the autograph, he was pretty cool. But he had a really weird story, Dan Gable. Like, the reason he became such a great wrestler is because he got totally consumed on working out because his older sister, when they went down, there was two kids in his family, himself and his older sister, who was like 3 years older, and his parents. And they went to a cottage for the weekend or something like that, And somehow this guy, this wacko guy, was like in the neighborhood in school, liked his sister, and ended up raping and killing her. And he felt guilty about it, that he wasn't there. And his whole life was dedicated to just working out downstairs in his basement and just thinking about the fact that his sister got killed. And that's how he became such a great wrestler, because all he did was work out.
Wow.
I'm serious.
Crazy.
People thought, the one guy from another country said, when they were talking about Dan Gable, and he met him overseas when he was getting ready for the 72 Olympics, he said, is there something mentally wrong with Gable? Because he was just singularly focused. So he never lost their high school started in 10th grade. He never lost in high school, 10th through 12th grade. He was a 3-time state champ. And then he lost in the Olympic trials because he was only 18. But then when he got in college, he didn't lose a match until his final match in his senior year. You couldn't wrestle as a freshman back then, and he lost a match like 11-13 to a guy named Larry Owens. It's the most famous wrestling match ever, and he lost, and he was undefeated. The only thing he had lost was like against way older wrestlers.
Didn't that happen this year in wrestling? Some guy who was undefeated lost.
There was a guy who got the silver medal in the 118 weight class. And his name slipped out. He was a 3-time champ going for a 4-time champ, and he got pinned in the semifinals. And the guy that pinned him didn't win the national title.
Right. Yeah,
then he went on to win the Olympic trials 3 years later, because that year he was too injured, his knees were screwed up, and then he went on to win a silver medal at the Olympics. He lost against a Japanese wrestler. Yeah, he's actually, I can't, his name's slipping my mind. But anyways.
So you're a wrestler? You wrestled?
I wrestled in high school. Yeah, I made the 8th grade church team in basketball. I was like 4'2". I only ended up 5'6.5". And then I wrestled 4 years in high school. I was a good wrestler. It's Spencer Lee's his name, right? And then I learned ultimate frisbee when I was a senior in high school, and I played that for 40 years competitively, not professionally because there wasn't any professional leagues back then. But I played in club teams, and then I played local leagues for 40 years, and I was a very good ultimate frisbee player. But there was no professional team, so I couldn't play it. So yeah,
wow.
But that was so I kept in shape my entire life. I'm still in shape now. Now I'm shooting hoops and dancing. That's what I do to keep in shape.
Oh, you ladies, you
yeah, I hadn't shot a basketball for so long. I got motivated by Kate Clark. I hit a couple threes the other day. Look out.
Hey man. They
weren't logo threes. They were like 22 feet.
Hey man, we're gonna watch out for you.
Steph Curry's not worried.
Let me get ready, man. The kids,
all right,
man.
Go take care of your 2 daughters.
I got one daughter.
You gotta bring
one
them in
son.
sometime. I gotta see them again. I saw them that one time. Yeah. They came in. They were cute.
Yeah,
we were making a video, and they came in and they sat on your lap. It was hilarious.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll take it easy, man.
All right. See you later.
All right. Peace.
So, by the way, Aaliyah Boston, it drives Rob crazy when they put the ball into the post and she loses the ball, gets knocked out of her hands too often. She's not strong enough. Her hands aren't strong enough, especially for a big woman. And she needs to do those wrist grips or a tennis ball in front of the TV and just get her hands stronger. I don't know if anybody in the Fever realizes that's an issue. What am I doing on a church team? You calling me a heathen because I'm on a church team? I don't know. I went out for it and I made it. I was actually not at that school, but I was in the parish, so I was allowed to go out. I didn't make it at the school where I went to. it was a weaker team. But I got better. I got good at basketball. By the time I was a senior in high school, I was pretty good, but I was still short. I was just fast. That's all. Anyways, but football was my favorite sport growing up, tackle football, but I didn't get big enough. And senior in high school, I was like 5'6". No, I was I grew 2.5. I was like senior high school, I was 5'4" and like 120 pounds going into my senior in high school. I was never going to play football. Yes, Dantas, she looks good, right? She's lost weight. She's working on her game. She's in shape. She's got that turnaround jumper that I like. She can hit the 3. She was out of practice and out of shape coming back from an injury, and she still hit some clutch baskets last year. They won a couple games. I don't know if they can't say she won the games for them, but she hit some clutch baskets in 2 games. And I don't think they would have won those games if she hadn't hit those clutch baskets that she hit. In 2 of those games that they won. But yeah, if Leah Boston's not playing well, there's going to be a quick whistle. I guess a quick whistle. What's the word I'm thinking of? There's going to be a quick whistle. Leah Boston's going to be out of there quick if she does not play well, because Dantas is going to be able to run the court better. She's consistent. I was raised a Catholic till age of reason, Carlin says. That was me too. I'm the Hana Hidalgo of sports pundits. Yeah, we're the same height. I don't agree with her religious takes, but that's another thing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Dantas play. I'm looking forward to seeing if Leah Boston shows up in shape, which I think she will, and get in shape. But she needs to do sprints. She needs to be ready to run that floor. She's got to do suicides. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. And I think, yeah, she could become like Jermaine Green. I agree with that. she is a very good passer, and she became better as the season progressed. And they were saying she could be like Jokic if they really concentrate on it. She's a smart player. I think she's physically gifted, but not super gifted. And even though she's got to increase her hand strength. So we'll see. Boston's going to be, she's going to have to, she's got someone looking over her shoulder for playing time. So I think that will motivate her. Because, before, who were they going to put in before? Beginning of the year, they didn't have anybody. And then they had Dantas, who wasn't, was coming back from an injury. Yeah, I heard in the interview, that was in the thing about Jokic, right? So we'll see. I believe that it will be a good year for the Fever. I really think they're going to win the championship. So I don't know if I'm right. I gotta get Vegas. I think the odds will probably, hopefully they won't change. I'll go put $100 on them, right? I ended up 5'6.5" when I graduated. So horse racing. Now, horse races are even skinnier than I was. I wasn't super skinny. By the time I was a senior, I wasn't super skinny. Horse races are like twigs a lot of times. They're like 5'2" and like they weigh like 90 pounds. When I graduated high school, I was 135 and 5'6.5". That's what I was. So Rob was 6'2". He claims he's still 6'2", but he shrunk. So, yes, I remember watching Rob play in high school. He did come with energy off the bench, and he was a good defensive player. The coach didn't start him, though. He had the coach started like 2 seniors, 2 juniors, and a sophomore every year at our high school. That's what he did every year. It was like the same thing every year. Some years, it was tough. That's what he did. Clark did an interview with who? Who did Clark interview? Spencer Lee? Oh, I believe. Oh, Spencer Lee? Is that she did an interview? Yeah, I saw them. I saw them talking together because he's from Iowa. Right. I think Dan Gable wrestled for Iowa and then coached at Iowa State University, or vice versa. I think he coached at Iowa. Dan Gable. He ended up, they already had a head coach. So he went to the other school and they offered him that coaching position, and he got like 9 championships when he was a coach. And he just retired a few years ago, like maybe 5 years ago. His body was breaking down. He was crazy. But he did not get scored on in the 1972 Olympics. He wrestled 6 matches and did not get scored on. His finals was 3-0 in the 1972 Olympics. And they showed every one of his matches back then. Back then they showed wrestling and boxing. Now you got to go to a special channel for it. They won't put them in prime time. It's all gymnastics, track and field, and swimming. Those are the only 3 sports that get any love. They don't show that anymore. But he was a big deal. You saw this story about him, how he worked out 6 hours a day down in his basement. He just lifting weights and going to the gym. That's all he did. Yeah, it's a weird story. I mean, I think what happened to his sister was a shame. Eventually, the guy got convicted and he died in prison. He never got out. So he was crazy. The guy was obviously a little whack job. You met Ali? Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, I would love to meet Ali when he was like younger. Ali was so charismatic when he was younger. I cannot wait for memoirs 20 years from now when she no longer has to. Yeah. I do not believe Caitlyn has said the truth about her being targeted, her being attacked, or basketball plays, or whatever, or the fouls. I do not believe any of that. I think she's just taking the high road because she's only going to make it worse if she complains. So that's my guess. And I think that's what everybody else is guessing too. She is not telling the truth. you can't blame her. It's too bad she can't really say how she feels about like the ref screwing her over. People are saying she whines too much as it is, but if you got the worst whistle in the history of basketball, you'd whine too. So, anyways, John the Liquidator said, what did John the Liquidator said? If you haven't seen it personally, maybe about the shoot. Okay. Let's see. Someone said this. If it was, all right, hang on. I met Joe Louis when I was about 8 years old. Talk about punch drunk. Yeah, you can tell. He actually did some commentary on boxing matches, and you can kind of tell he was punch drunk. That's because he came back. But so I saw a comment here and I lost it. John Liquidator is competing with Mick for the full retard award. It's so funny when he put that video out about the woman that they signed. I guess that's a camp contract. He said, it's over with. Nobody else is going to make the team. They draft Denson and he goes, she's going to make the team. She's not that dominant. If she was that dominant, she would have made All-American. So let's not get too excited yet. I don't know. She didn't stand out to me when I watched Florida State play. So maybe it was the games I watched. I only watched a couple of their games. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. A police car. James Cagney, police car. I had a phone call. What I missed? Jokic can score against taller players, so that would be a change for Boston. Yeah, Boston has trouble when she plays against the taller centers. I agree with that, Vadim. That's a good observation. Yeah, she has trouble anytime she plays against any of the better defenders, but definitely the smaller ones. I mean, the taller ones. She seems to because she doesn't have good footwork sometimes, so she has trouble shooting over players that she's not taller than, and she loses the ball a lot, like I talked about. So, stop with the happy feet in the box. Are we talking about this? Is Aaliyah Boston? Yeah, I'm wondering how these players. Yeah, so we'll find out. I'm looking forward to them, though. I'm interested to see what rotation Stephanie White comes up with. Then how it varies from game to game, depending on who they're playing and who's playing well. So we'll see what happens. I'm trying to figure out, what do you say to a player that you want for their 12th player, but say, listen, you got to wait 15 games. You got to wait till we can pay you $46,000 for the rest of the year, because that's how much money they're going to have left over after they sign somebody. They only have $112,000 left. It's my understanding. As long as the numbers are correct on the internet, that's what they got. They got $46,000 left after they paid $46,000. That's about 1/3 of the season they have to wait before they can sign somebody. Excuse me. Lindy Smallwood just put Monica McNutt lawsuit in your browser. There's a lawsuit against Monica McNutt. Someone should sue her for impersonating a commentator. Same thing with all of ESPN staff. Boston needs to focus on rebounding, passing, and playmaking, not scoring. Clark is suing her? Are you serious? Or is that a joke? Yeah. Elle Duncan. Yes, this whole she's at ESPN staff. Carolyn Peck, Monica McNutt, Andrea Carter. All four of those. They're terrible. They were like total sisterhood, total tribalism, to the point of being racism at times, I think. But Elle she's a dingbat. Sorry. She is. She's a dingbat. I don't know what to say. Anybody else think she's a dingbat besides me? And then the poor guy that she's on the show with, Gary, he has to sit there and listen to her rant for 10 minutes, knowing that he doesn't agree with her at all, and he can only push back so far or he gets fired. But Gary seems like a reasonable guy. He's pretty smart. He's had pushbacks on her before on the videos. See, my dad was a Joe Louis fan, and he's the one that told me about Muhammad Ali, because Muhammad Ali, I was like 8 when he got stripped of his title, 7 or so when I got stripped of his title. So I didn't really follow it yet. And then he told me about Ali, telling him that he can't box right now. And then I couldn't wait for him to come back. And that's when I started following Ali's, when the comebacks. But I've went back and watched all his fights. I have them all on DVD. So you would like to see these held accountable? It's Monica. Are you guys serious about this Monica thing? Or are you just joking? They're not gonna sue, right? All right, let me just see. You guys are serious. Monica McCrazy is what I call her. Caitlin Clark sued Monica McNutt for calling her racist. When did Monica McNutt call her racist? That's probably made up. Is that one of those AI YouTube channels? Those are those AI ones that they don't even. They're AI ones. I don't think that's true. What do you guys think about the 2 UConn players? Well, there was only 16 players on the draft list, and there was 36 people drafted. So there was going to be 20 people that weren't on the draft list, because all 16 of them did get drafted. They were invited. So there was going to be 20 people that were going to be drafted that weren't on the list. Some were in attendance, but they weren't invited. They just showed up. They crashed the party. I don't think they're going to make the teams. Those 2 players that got drafted in the 3rd. What is me? I told you guys already a million times. Michael Jordan's my favorite athlete. And then Muhammad Ali is up there. And who's 3rd? I don't know. I find Deion very exciting when I watched him play, but I'm not sure who's 3rd. I have to think about it. Gail Sayers is the first one I remember. So, and Paul Horning, but I was really young when Paul Horning. I don't really remember it. Trying to think who else. I always like watching Barry Sanders run. I like watching LeBron play. Just his personality is 50-50 for me. And I like watching Steph Curry a lot. So Steph Curry is one of my favorite athletes right now. I prefer. But I like Dr. J. For a while, I liked Aaron Rodgers till I figured him out till he showed his true colors. And Bart Starr, George Brett. My favorite baseball player growing up was William Mays, but I saw him he was past his prime when I saw him. So he just died 6 months ago, 3 months ago. Dick Bueckers. There you go. I'm a big fan of Simone Biles, to tell you the truth. I think she's could be the most dominant and best athlete in the world. You can make that argument. I think she's probably retired, but I don't know. No, I'm not going to touch that one about Aaron Rodgers. I'm a new fan. Hi, JL. How are you? Welcome to the channel. What subscriptions to watch all the Fever games at home this year? Too many options. Well, I don't know. I have Prime, so like that's what Ion comes with my YouTube TV, and so does ESPN 1, 2, and ABC. What other channels are there? But you can get the WNBA pass, which I think someone said was like $40 or $60 or something. Does anyone know the price of the pass? But if you have Prime TV, I think you could get 41 out of 44 games on normal subscriptions. But yeah, I think everything but Prime. I think there's a couple games on Prime, isn't it? Right. Ion comes with almost all the cable ones now. So, and ESPN 1 and 2 both come with almost all cables. ESPN 3 does not. And 2 of their games of the 3 that weren't televised are now listed on ESPN 3. I found that out last week when I looked it up. Yeah, Friday nights on Ion. They got a lot of Fever games. So $60 for WNBA pass. I won't pay for it because all I want to watch is Caitlin Clark, and she's on TV. So I'll miss 3 games. Big deal. I'll probably be able to catch them later on YouTube. Anyways, that's what I did last time. I watched the one on ESPN 3 was later on YouTube. Yeah, you can. I'll do all the games I can, and do some commentary. When Rob's not working, he'll be with me. Rob knows a lot about basketball. I think I don't remember. I'm paying something for Prime per month though. It allows, I think it's the basic Prime that I pay for free delivery and all that kind of stuff. It's the same one. I still get the games, but I don't get other things. So it ran out with I changed my credit card and I didn't have it for after the season ended. I just didn't renew it until I needed it again. Yeah, you can't find them live on YouTube is the problem. So you want to see I want to see Reese get posterized by Marinko. I would like, yeah, she will outplay eventually. She won't outplay her in the rebounding right away, but she will eventually outplay Angel Reese. Unless she turns out to be really wimpy, which I don't think so. That's the only thing I'm worried about is is she tough enough mentally and physically for this league at such a young age? She will be eventually. So, but like this year, I'm just wondering how's it going to be for her. So, oh yeah, Magic and Kobe are two of my favorite athletes. I like watching them. And Caitlin Clark, I guess, would be third after, since I couldn't think of anybody. Steve Prefontaine. I was rooted for Serena. When she was on, she was fun to watch because she's so powerful. Rob adds heart and humanity. Not that there's no heart and humanity without him. Rob's a great guy. Yeah, Jerry Rice, Magic Johnson, they're all up there for me. I liked watching. I didn't like his personality, but I liked Randy Moss. I just liked watching him play because I think he was a great athlete. He's exciting to watch. Rob is you, but quieter. I'll tell him that. Yeah, one person gave me a hard time about that dumb hate task force they got. I guess you probably saw the video by now. I think it's a joke because all the hate was directed at Caitlyn, and they didn't do anything to protect her, and they're not going to do anything with this dumb thing they got going there. Oh my, they got this. Oh my God, 4-pronged approach. Right. Like any complaints about Caitlin Clark will go to the back, to the bottom. So, Larry Bird was up there for I always like Larry Bird. I also watch, I like Sugar Ray Leonard too. Yeah, Randy Moss should have been the greatest receiver of all time, but he didn't. If you had Michael Jordan's brain in Randy Moss's body, Randy Moss would have been the greatest receiver of all time. I think that's all that was needed. I'm not saying he wasn't competitive. I'm just saying he needed Michael Jordan's competitive to really push him down, push him up there. Jerry Rice was just super competitive, and it's super hardworking and dedicated. And that's why he was the greatest receiver of all time. He was talented too, obviously. But I wish I'd seen, like, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I wish I'd seen Willie Mays in his prime. Because all I see is highlights. And same thing with Jackie Robinson, stealing home. I'm not a big baseball fan, but I liked Bobby Orr growing up too. I was a big Bobby Orr fan. But I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I was a big Bobby Orr fan. So, in terms of greatest athletes. Also, John Smith, the wrestler. He was a 6-time world champion and gold medalist. He won 6. He won 4 world championships and 2 gold medals, but it was 6-time world champ. Vita Blue. I remember Vita Blue. I like the name Vita Blue. There's something magical about that name. Yeah, they had cool names back then. Catfish Hunter, Vita Blue. Those are cool names. Sugar Ray Leonard. Man, the Sugar Ray Leonard was the real deal, though. He was tougher than he seemed. I know that when he fought Hagler, people thought he didn't win, but I thought he won the fight. But I thought he won the fight. But Hearns and Hagler fight. What a fight! Is the best short fight ever. 3-round fight. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. That was a fight that dreams were made of. It couldn't have been much better. your dad is or was a smart guy. Whose dad? My dad was a Cleveland Browns fan, so he liked Jim Brown. Not always his personality, but he became a little bit of a Michael Jordan fan when he was in his prime. But my dad liked football. Yeah, I don't think Hagler got robbed. I thought Leonard won that fight. I thought it was a very close fight, but I thought he won the fight. I was surprised Roberto Duran beat Leonard. And then I'm surprised he quit later when he fought again. The third time? Yeah. Sugar Ray wanted to be Muhammad Ali, but it's too bad we weren't old enough to see Sugar Ray Robinson when he was young. Because even when you see him on film, almost all his fights are when he was like 30 or older. Maybe when he became a middleweight. So, unfortunately, you can't. There's no really the film for these boxing fights before 1950 weren't that good. The quality. All right. You guys, I don't know why you thought Hagler won that fight. I've watched that fight twice. But, hey, boxing's not an exact science. No, Roberto Duran was fantastic in his prime. And I think Leonard did not fight a smart fight the first time. And then he fought a very smart fight the second and third time. And that's why he won. Oh, Roy Jones fight? Yeah, Roy Jones. Yeah, he was like unbelievable. And then he dropped off quicker than you would think, right? He didn't have a very long prime. Oh, you don't think Hagler got robbed? Okay. Some people do. Italy Bird. What's that? Yeah, I like boxing growing up. The sport's dying slowly. And I don't really like Ultimate Fighting Championship. It's too violent, too quick. There doesn't seem to be that ebb and flow that boxing had, like strategy and stuff. And I don't know. Something's missing from when I watch Ultimate Fighting. It wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be when I first heard about the concept. Yeah, I agree, Duke. That's a good point. So can't win a decision against a champ. I don't know. It's not so easy to knock somebody out, especially if you limit it to 12 rounds, which is what they started doing after some people died in the ring. He went toe-to-toe to Duran because Duran insulted Leonard's wife. Yeah, that was the mistake. I said he didn't fight a smart fight. That's exactly what he did. He tried to outbox him. I mean, outfight him instead of outbox him. Didn't they fight 3 times? Didn't he beat him the second time and then fought him a third time? I thought No Mas was the third fight. I could be wrong. I would have loved to see Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis fight a best of 3 in their prime. I would take Muhammad Ali. I think Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis fought 4 times. Ali would win 3. Yeah, I thought they fought 3 times. Let's see. Sugar Ray Leonard. Oh, they're making me sign in. Oh, I think I already have a membership. All right. Let's see. What is this? What the fuck? What the? Oh, let me see here. Come on. Why are we giving such a hard time? This website's screwed up now. Boxing Rex changed it. And I didn't listen to Sugar Ray Leonard. What the hell? What kind of site is this? Oh, here it is. Oh, international professional record. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what happened to Boxing Rec. Professional record. Why doesn't it have each bout like it used to have it? Let me see. I don't know if Ali Marciano. Yeah, Ali would have beaten Marciano. Marciano was tough and everything, but I think Ali's had size advantage over him, and he'd be able to just get too many punches in, and he was quicker. Even though he probably wouldn't have never knocked him out, but he would have got a decision. Yeah, Joe Louis had quick hands, but Ali had quick hands and quick feet, and I think that would have been the difference. As long as they were in their prime before Ali, like when Ali was, well, we never saw Ali's prime. That was the sad part. Here we go. All right. So let me see. Control F. So he fought Duran 3 times. He fought him in 80. And he lost undisputed decision 144 to 146, 144 to 145, 147, 48. So it was a close fight. 2 by 1.1 by foot. And that was in 1980. He lost to Duran. And then they fought 5 months later. I didn't realize it was that quick. In November and he won a TKO at 244 of the 8th round. And that was only Durant's second loss. He was 72-1 going into that fight. And then they fought again. And I think that's when it was a no mas. Was it? No, wait a minute. It's not telling me here. They fought a third time in 89. No, it was 12 rounds. Okay. Yeah, what was that? He actually quit. They had it 67, 66, 68, 60. They had it a close fight. All right. They did fight 3 times, but no mas was the second fight. But it's never clear to me why he quit that fight. He never gave a good explanation for why he quit the fight. He was a weird guy. How do you quit a fight? It wasn't like... Yeah, I never got a good explanation for that. The guy was 72-1 and he gave up. I don't know. I don't know what his problem was. That's weird, you know. So Sugar Ray Robinson as a welterweight, he was like 112-1, and then he didn't start losing until he got older and became a middleweight opponent. So, yeah, Duran, man, he was tough. He was tough. Saddest thing in Iowa history. Cap Anson, the man that led the removal of black players from baseball, he was born. Oh, really? Oh, was that him? He was the first guy to start trying to get the movement because there was black players playing in the 1850s or 60s. And then more than one player objected to it. But yeah, I would have liked seeing Foreman and Tyson fight in their primes. Foreman versus Tyson. I think Tyson was too small for Foreman, but Tyson was quicker and had quicker feet and he had quicker punches. But that would have been a brutal. In fact, I bet you if they fought 5 times, there would have been 5 knockouts if they had fought. Yeah, George Foreman just died. I thought if he had fought Tyson, there were no way that would go 12 rounds, even if they fought 5 times. I think there'd be a knockout every time. I'm not even saying it would be Foreman every time, but I think it would be Foreman more often than Tyson doing the knocking out. You saw what he did with Frazier. So, this. So anyway, George is crazy. He named all his sons after himself. They're all going to have problems, like just getting credit ratings and stuff like that. There's all mixed up. They're all named George. Wink Martindale just died on Tuesday. I remember that name when I was a kid. All right. So anyway, my throat's going. I think Foreman was the hardest hitting ever too. I think Foreman, you just go watch the two Frazier fights and the fight against Ken Norton. And that's quality competition. And he destroyed them. Like it was nothing. And I thought he was the heaviest puncher ever. You know, Tyson might have been in the top 3 or top 5, but George Foreman was number 1. Supposedly Jack Dempsey was great, but yeah, no ways. He punches hard. So Ali had more power than people thought. When he was younger, and he had his legs underneath him. But it was cartoonish. Yeah, watching Tyson and Foreman destroy people earlier in their career. Yeah, Ernie Shavers was one of the hardest punchers ever. He was considered like one of the 5 hardest punchers ever. I've seen some lists of that. Oh yeah, Foreman, he fought 5 guys in one night. I remember that. I think he knocked them all out, right? Oh, they're coming after me. Yeah, I think Ken Norton had an awkward style for Ali, and he gave him a hard time all 3 times they fought. But if Ken Norton had fought Ali in his prime, Ali would have been able to overcome that awkwardness, and it wouldn't have been such a hard time. They're coming for me. That's my opinion. And same thing with Joe Frazier. If he had fought Ali in his prime, it wouldn't have been the same thing. I think Ali would have clearly won those fights if they fought in their prime. Frazier would have never beaten Ali if they'd fought in 66, 67, 68, 69, and 70. During 65 to 70, they'd fought during that time period. Even if Frazier was in his prime, whatever you want to take Frazier in 70 against Ali in 60, 67 or something, Ali would have beaten Frazier every time. But he would have given him a hard time, but it wouldn't have been nearly as hard as it was when Ali was in the second half of his career. The only way to find out what the greatest heavyweight is to have a time machine anyways. So this is what I propose. You get a time machine. You get the 25 greatest boxers of all time by agreement of the heavyweights. And they all fight everyone else 3 times each. So that would be what you'd fight. I guess you'd fight 72 matches. Of course, you get time in between. And that would determine the greatest fighter of all time. Take the top 25 greatest fighters of all time. Because that way you overcome you arguing about styles and stuff like that. Because you went up against everybody. So it didn't matter that the styles didn't make the fight. So you'd have to see who had the best record after 72 fights. And I think Ali pretty would have lost one to Joe Louis. It might have lost one to Foreman. And I think that's all he would have lost. I think he'd go 70-2. So that's how you determine the greatest fighter of all time. But you never be able to do that without a time machine. So you guys got to invent a time machine. Same thing with any weight class. You'd have to do that. That's the only way to determine it. But the more modern athletes would have an advantage. I can't see Jack Dempsey doing as great as people think he might do. Jack Johnson had a nice defensive style. He might do all right. Kathy Engelbert doesn't support boxing. She doesn't support anything except for the woke movement of the black lesbians in the WNBA. That's what she supports. Yeah, Sonny Liston, man, he could hit hard. Sonny Liston, I don't know, man. He's got a weird life story. He doesn't even know his own birthday. They still haven't figured out exactly when he was born and when his birthday was. There's been all sorts of research done on it. They still can't figure out when the guy was born. They don't know his real age. It was weird because George Foreman had his wrong birthday too. It was like weird with George Foreman too. But it was like, I don't know, like so. Yeah, I don't know what happened in the second Ali fight. I do not have a strong opinion on it. Execution by heroin. Nah, man. He destroyed Floyd Patterson in those fights. He just destroyed him. And Floyd Patterson, I mean, he wasn't a great heavyweight, but he's a good heavyweight. Kathy Engelbert has no spine. I agree. That phantom punch. Well, there was a punch. It hit him. It's just a question of, did he just stay down? The replays have shown his jaw going back, but it wasn't enough to knock him out, as far as I could tell. No, you go watch the replay. It was a real punch. He was just waiting for a real punch, and he just took whatever the first one that really hit him solid. I think that's if he took a dive, he would have lost anyways. Ali had really bulked up. There was like a whole delay because Ali got a hernia or something like that, and there was another 6 months. But Ali, you could see Ali's body, man. He wasn't losing that fight no matter what. He beat him the first time. He was a year later. He was going to beat him the second time. Gladiator Arena, in which case the greatest athlete would be Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron James. Yeah, I say if you include strength, you got to go with LeBron and Bo Jackson and Jim Brown. But if you go for sheer athletic ability, I go with Jordan and like Deion Sanders type of athletes. That's just me. But Wilt Chamberlain obviously is up there, but some of his stories aren't true. So Carl Lewis, he couldn't box. He was a great athlete. So, yeah, Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant, he had this strange thing about his body, like the growth that he had. So this is a true story. I met Andre the Giant, and it was the weirdest thing ever. I was working in a hotel, and behind the front desk, and he came into the lobby area. I just looked at him, oh my God. And he came over to the front desk, and polite as could be, he gave me $1 and asked for 4 quarters. And I know you think I'm going to be exaggerating for this story. I put the 4 quarters into his hand, and my hand disappeared like a 3-year-old's into his father's hand. That was the difference in our hands. Andre the Giant. I felt like I was in a Gulliver's Travels movie when I put the quarters into his hand. It was the weirdest feeling I ever had around a human being. I'm not exaggerating. It was a very strange feeling. His hands were, they looked like they were 5 times bigger than any other hand I've ever seen in my life. They were long, thick, muscular hands, just boom. And then he walked away. He was like the politest guy. Thank you very much. And just walked away. Andre the Giant. He was humongous. Biggest human being I ever saw. It was weird. I'll never forget that. Six pies for two men. Yeah, he did this weird thing when he was like, he did these eating contests and drinking contests. He would like drink like 10 cases of beer or weird shit like that, or just take like chug it down his throat. It wasn't good for him, and that's probably why he died early, besides the fact he was too big. Around what year? No, when he was relatively healthy. It was 1982 or 1983. Was he still healthy then? I think he was still healthy then. It didn't matter. He was huge already at that point. Yeah, 80. It was 80. Like I graduated 82. Yeah. It was either 82 or 83. Yeah, I wonder if Andre the Giant had wrestled in. I don't think he wrestled in high school, did he? I know he's from. Excuse me. I know he's from Europe. Maybe he was 18. He was healthy. I saw a picture of him when he was 18. He was almost handsome because his face hadn't bloated up yet. Yeah, I saw a documentary on him. Could he dunk? I mean, of course he could dunk. 7'6". You can dunk when you're 7'6". You don't even have to jump when you're 7'6". I thought he was 7'6". That's my understanding, but he could have been 7'5". And he got up to like over 500 pounds and stuff like that. But all right, you guys won't forget that one, will you? He was a very big boy. Andre the Giant. I wonder if he had any trouble, if he had trouble getting women, or if women just flocked at him because they thought there was something to be seen. Yeah, I'm surprised. I wonder if he played sports in high school. Let me look up Andre the Giant. Oh, these guys got me interested. Because I saw a documentary on him, so I remember a little bit about it. Let me look up Andre the Giant. Because he didn't get real big until later. He wasn't that huge when he was 18. He just kept growing. Like his height kept growing too. It wasn't just like his body getting bigger. He didn't stop growing. Like I stopped growing at 17. He says 7'4" here, 520. Oh, let's see. At birth, he weighed 13 pounds, and he displayed symptoms of gigantism. His mother was 5'2", and his father 6'2". So his father was tall, but his mother was shorter than average. And his grandfather was 7 feet 8 inches. So he was 6'3" by the time he was 12. Let me just see what he was when he was. Cause I saw him there's a picture when he was like 18 in the average student. No further schooling after 14. He wanted to be his career as a fireman. So he didn't stay in school to wrestle in high school. Like if he had been in the United States, he might have wrestled. Can you imagine? He's wrestling in the unlimited weight class. Let's see. So at 18, he moved to Paris and was taught professional wrestling by a local promoter. So he never did any real wrestling. It doesn't say how tall he was when he was 18. I kind of wanted to know what he was when 18. It doesn't say how tall he was, how much he weighed when he was 18. Because he was thin in the picture that I saw when he was 18. So, he did international wrestling in 1970. So what year was he born? 46. Well, it's not going to tell me. I guess you'd have to do a Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, 1980. Who won between these guys? He even talks about their third showdown at Shea Event in Pennsylvania. That's where I was at the time. All right. Well, I'm not going to get the answer I wanted. He was 6'3", though. When he was, let's see what it'd say. He was. He was 12 years old. He was 6'3" already. Ended up 7'4". But anyways, yeah, not surprised he died early. He also abused himself with the drinking and eating. Like he probably didn't eat a healthy diet. Who knows? God, his whole family was like they're saying his grandfather was 7 feet and inches tall, but we don't know if that's the true height. Anyways, yeah, because overproduction can lead to conditions like giantism, excess. Yeah, but he had like everything about him got large, so. Yeah, it was weird when I saw him. It was the weirdest feeling. It's just, I'd never seen a human being so big before. Rochester, New York. I'm from Rochester, New York. Who is this? Killer Kozowski lived in Rochester, New York when I did a loan for him. That's where Rob and I grew up. We grew up in Rochester, New York. There was a killing today. Another killing. FSU shooting. Oh my God. Well, there's shootings every day. But yeah. See, that's why you follow sports, because in sports, one team wins and one team loses. So at least like half of the news is good. That's one way to look at it. News is almost all bad. Now I feel like an old fart sitting on the porch, sipping whiskey. Mike, you're just an old fart. I'm just an old fart. George Carlin does a routine on that. I'm just an old fart. Who is 6'2" and 220? Is that Andre the Giant or somebody else? Because it says Andre the Giant was 6. I just want to know how much he was. It was 18 because I saw the picture. He didn't look super tall at the time. And he wasn't heavy. He was in shape. And his face wasn't like all large and everything like that. I'd like to watch a documentary on him again. I think it was interesting. It's probably one on YouTube I could find easily, right? I wonder what the average age of those remaining in the chat. Oh. All right, we could take a survey. There's 28 of you. I'm 65. My audience is older. My audience is so my channel is, if you go to the analytics of my channel, let's see, audience. It's 83% male, 40% 65 and over, 30% 55 to 64, 15.7% 45 to 54. So that's 40, 70. Wow. 85%. 85% is 45 or older on my channel. And then 35 to 43 is 9%, 25 to 34, 4%. And then 18 to 24, 0.3%. Young people do not like our channel. We'd have more subscribers if I did. We did. All right. Well, so far, only 2 people have given up their age, Reese and Dave. I'm right in between them. They're 68 and 62. I'm 65. Yeah, that track meet, man. The guy just didn't. They asked him to move out of a tent. He was sitting underneath the tent, which was set up for the track team that he wasn't on. The guy asked him to move again, apparently. He said, touch me and see what happens. He just tried to like push him out of the tent, and he stabbed him. And he's claiming self-defense. It won't work. And then there's that girl that hit the other girl in the baton and gave her a concussion. And she's claiming she didn't do it, but it's obvious, no matter what angle you look at, that she did it on purpose. She's playing the victim. So that's terrible. We need the demo for Mixed Channel. What kind? I'm not confused. What demo? Older and wiser. So Bobby and Basil aren't giving up their age, it looks like. There's 27 people listening, but only a couple people wanted to give up their age. I was going to do a survey. Can't do a survey with only 3 ages. I don't believe the self-defender. Well, I heard there might be a videotape of it, but I'm not clear. But I do not believe the self-defense argument, because I can explain self-defense to you, and then you'll see that in order for it to be self-defense, he has to feel like his life was also threatened. And even if it was, you can only use enough force to repel the aggressor. So there's no indication that this aggressor was trying to really hurt him or to assault him, and that he didn't have any weapons on him. So no, the self-defense argument will lose quickly if the facts that I read were correct, that he basically asked him to move, and finally he just said, he tried to push him out of the thing, There's no indication he punched him or put him on the ground or had a weapon. You can't stab a guy because he tries to push you out of a tent that you're not even supposed to be in there. So he's going down for something, whether he goes down for life or not. He won't. Well, even if he goes down for life, you can't give him more than 40 years, I think, if the Supreme Court, because he's under 18. Supposedly they're both 4.0 students, but I don't believe it. 4.0 students. 4.0 out of what? 5? Maybe. That's a B. People have 4.0 students. That means you got A+ in every subject in every quarter you were ever in school. Sure, right. So what reduced bail? Okay, 1 million was a bit too much. I wouldn't give him any bail. In first degree, this is I don't know. In Pennsylvania, it'd be more like second degree murder, but wasn't really. What was he doing with a knife? Like, what was he carrying around a knife around? Supposedly he was an athlete and a 4-star. Carrying a knife around. So I wouldn't give him any bail. That's me, given the facts that I've heard. My opinion, he's going to plead this out to 25 to life, probably. He would get 40 if he went to trial, 40 to life if he went to trial and lost. That's the maximum he could get. Because I'd give him life if I was the judge. But you can't give him life without parole or the death penalty if you're under 18, which I don't really have a problem with that rule. But I think he's going to plead it out to like 25 to life. And then if he gets out after 25 years, that's up to him. He's in prison. It's up to the parole board. But yeah, supposedly like he got 300K already to a GoFundMe thing, and or was that the track case? No, I think it was him. He got 300,000 right away for the GoFundMe thing. Both families got around 300,000 in the GoFundMe. The only one that deserve it is a guy that died. Is that their family? Put up money for a punk who just stabbed a guy for no reason. I can't believe people put money up for that. Yeah, you don't need 300,000 to pay a lawyer to do this case. You can do a quarter point of a lawyer for that for free and just plead it out to 25 to life, because that's really what this case is. Anyways, it's 8 o'clock. You guys, I gotta go. It's down to 28 people. Monday night, 6, and I'm gonna do the game against Brazil is gonna be on TV. I guess it's ESPN 1 or 2, depending on whether it's Game 7. If you want, you can donate to this channel with super chats and super thanks. That might have been true. That's a different situation for OJ. Bedtime? I don't know about bedtime, but I got things I got to do. I got some text messages here. All right. So we'll see you Monday at 6. I'm going to call it a night. And like I said, the live show, a live stream or a live that game. When is it? May 3rd? May 4th. The second exhibition one is. So anyway. All right. See you guys. Thanks for joining the show tonight. And take care.